Hey everybody, my sports chat. Thanks for watching us. Um, Michigan beat up on Penn State, dominant victory, 41-17. The score really doesn't tell the story, as crazy as that is. But I haven't seen a more dominant game. Uh, Tom, you're at the game. What was it like? What was the atmosphere?
Well, it was very exciting. The start to the game was exactly what we all expected. It was really fantastic to take the ball, go right down the field, run some very solid plays, and get points. I was a little disappointed in a couple of the plays as they got to the goal line. They were right there, and they didn't execute and do the things they could have and should have done to get in the end zone. And I think part of what Michigan fans and me included are actively complaining about is the fact that we are not allowing our quarterback to be more dynamic than they're showing. Now, is that because they don't have faith? Probably, but I get a little concerned that they don't do some things that they have shown they can do when they get in the red zone. And I don't mind 4 field goals, 4 touchdowns at all. I think that's fantastic. But I get a little concerned when we get to a point that we're at today and we don't do a couple of extra things to get that ball in the end zone. And we had the ball 2 times we were inside the 10 and didn't get the ball in the end zone. Yeah. So that's a little bit of a problem. But the atmosphere of that game was just absolutely spectacular. The fans were into it, and it's kind of crazy. We're all excited. It's 13-0, and we blink, and Penn State gets a score, and you go, okay, well, we're all right, and we start moving the ball again, and then we have the dumbest of dumb plays where we throw the ball, and it was a badly designed play. We roll to the right, and the entire defense was already over there, and then he throws the ball into the helmet of a guy in front of him. And to be honest, if you look at where he was throwing, that guy was covered, but there was a guy behind him about 10 yards doing it out to the sideline that was open. So, it's interesting how we are now complaining about JJ missing things when he still does some great stuff and he is extremely talented. And
Yeah.
the environment, though, was awesome. And the thing that I noticed there as the game went on, the fans got more and more into it, especially early in the second half. And if it would have been snowing, it would have reminded me of the Ohio State game. It was cold and windy, but if there would have been some snow, I just cannot imagine how we would have felt with that cold weather and Michigan just pounding these guys. Yeah. It was truly, it was probably in my top 5 of all the games I've ever watched Michigan play. And I was just extremely impressed with most facets of the game. And I can't sit here and complain about much. They gave up a play here, they gave up a play there, but that was
it's it's
that's not
funny
much.
because you start out and it's like, I just, listening to interviews and just getting the general sense of talking to Michigan fans in the last couple of days. It's been all positive. And I ask you that question to lead off, and you talk about the red zone woes of the first half, and JJ missing a couple passes, and well, that pick was, that's got to be a broken play of some sort, because like you said, it's a horrible design.
Yeah.
Everyone's flowing that way. There's 5 defensive guys over there. Why he's throwing that ball, even I have no idea. I think it's just a brain fart, and like the miss to Edwards after Corum went off,
Yeah.
um, for throwing up. That's a TD if he throws it
Yeah,
eight
at
inches
least at
closer
least
to
the
him.
first down, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they had 3 guys and 3 guys to block.
Yeah.
Um, there's
Yeah.
3 defensive guys, 3 blockers, so everybody gets just a shoulder on the guy. They only got to get what, 8 yards or something.
Right.
But yeah, the key thing is we can complain, and why we can complain is because at one point it was 14-13.
Yep.
We were losing,
Yep.
and we had we'd given up. They'd scored more touchdowns than first downs,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and and it was just crazy town.
Yeah.
Pat, what were your thoughts when it's sitting there at 14-13?
Oh yeah, 14-13 was total shock that we were actually losing that ball game, and all it was 2 plays, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, here we go again. There's been so many nostalgic Penn State Michigan games where it just comes down to final drives or just back and forth battles, and I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, here we go again. They're going to find a way to hang around, and we're just all of a sudden making these little mistakes, but we just came on and just overcame that, and we up 16, 14 and a half, and pulled that out there, you get ahead, and obviously Penn State was struggling against us all day long, and it was just a fun game to watch. I
So
mean, just they just keep surprising every time we go in there. I think I said last week, Manny Diaz and his defense, I was worried about that they were going to play. They were renowned running defense, and we just ran through them like it was Hawaii.
yeah, and overall, and let me say the last couple negative things before, like, and the rest of it's just glowingly positive. Um, Odd that this is kind of a downer right now, but I mean, it's just funny because it's like I sit there and I think any football fan, when you see drives just go ping, ping, ping down the field, and then they end in the red zone, and you kick field goals, and you do it a
Yeah.
couple times in a row, you start thinking, "Oh God," because even that, they have two great drives. They got
Oh yeah.
140 yards of offense to 4 yards of offense,
Mhm.
and dude, one big play and they're up 7-6.
Yeah.
It could be, and you're
Yeah.
thinking that, and you're like, you can't keep trading
Yeah.
this stuff. You can't keep settling for field goals, and you've
Yeah.
seen it. And again, as Michigan fans, we're trained to like kind of expect the worst. I think most fans say that about their fan base, maybe except Alabama.
I think the
Um,
stat
Oh no, they say it. You should read some of the Alabama stuff this week
the,
because
the
they
stat
almost lost last week and they lost this week. So the fans are killing them.
yeah,
the stat that they showed earlier, right in that first drive, was first 6 games Michigan had taken it down and scored a touchdown with their initial drive, and
Yeah.
so this was the first game that they drove down and then it had self for field
oh
goal.
wow, that's a great stat.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, and that's the thing. Like, so we do it twice, and like I'm ready for the hammer to drop, and then it goes 13-0,
Mm-hmm.
and was it there? Yeah, it was 13-0.
Yep.
And so then they get that,
Down.
they have a slow quarterback who the defense just kind of goes, hey, if you want to try to run, go for it. And they do. Goes
Yeah.
62 yards and down to, and they, inside the 5, they still take 4 downs to get in.
And by the
Right.
way,
And
on
Yeah.
fourth down, we had the guy in the backfield and he slipped the
Yeah.
tackle. No
right.
one else was there to help him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And so then you're sitting there going, okay, cool. So then I'm thinking, okay, we start moving the ball again. And I'm like, okay, cool. We go into halftime. It's um,
Mhm.
20
20-7. We just keep the dominance and everything's cool. And then that play. I mean, and how, okay, so he throws the ball goes off a
oh,
guy who's not covering him. It goes off
No,
his
it was actually a
back.
lineman. The play
it's
just
the
popped up
lineman's
here.
helmet.
It
Something
was
hits
off a
it.
lineman's helmet.
Well, it
And
went
then
off
it
a
bounced
guy's,
off another guy's helmet.
okay,
Yeah.
so it helmet
Helmet.
And
to a
then right
guy
into
in
the hands
stride.
of the guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Into
can't
the-
plant. I mean, I know it went off like I thought it went off the dude's back,
could
but
have
it
like
doesn't matter. I mean, it bounced off at 2 guys and then right to a guy who happens to be a speedy guy and can run the rest of the way. So then you're like, oh boy. But then now this is the cool thing, and this is where everything changes. Dudes, I'm thinking, okay, this is horrible. They're back in it. Um, I think normally you'd expect, okay, now it's going to be a game the rest of the game, or they might panic, or they know how much they dominated. But instead of getting emotional about it, they just sat there and said, look, everything we're doing is working.
Right.
yeah,
So
like
keep
Tom
doing it.
says.
And they
They're
did.
calm about them.
Those
So,
first half stats were amazing. They were shocking.
right. Yeah. So we go in 16-14. Um, and it ends up, I think we had, what was it, 18 first downs
Yeah,
to one.
yeah.
Um, it was, I know that we had the ball 24 minutes to 6 minutes.
hmm
I mean,
Yeah,
that's just crazy right there.
yeah.
Um,
Total dominance to be up by 2 points.
yeah.
Shaking your head going, what in the world?
So Tom, what's happening at halftime there? Are people worried? Are they?
You know what's really funny? I don't think anybody around us was even mildly worried. There were some Penn State fans a couple rows in front of us woofing it up, and we were just kind of laughing at them because everything we had shown in the first half showed we were a lot better than them. And one little side thing to it, I did some research last week about the offensive line for Penn State, and their right tackle had given up more pressures and more hurries and more sacks than any other offensive lineman in the Big Ten. So I
Yeah.
told all the guys, we watched it really close, and I tell you, Michigan's defensive line was killing that kid.
Yeah.
And they kept putting pressure on him, but they just one of the things they didn't do is we did not send 5 guys. We were sending 4 guys and getting in the area of the quarterback. And give Clifford some credit. He
Yeah.
did get out. Now he had one run for 60, whatever, 62, and he only ran for 12 yards total after that. But he did have more yards than that. And then, he was losing him because of sacks,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
But we were doing a great job. So nobody was really concerned. And literally we just moved the ball up and down the field. So
Yeah.
none of us had a major concern until Penn State came right down the field in the start of the third quarter. And it's like,
Yeah.
wow, and they throw that long pass and they get it. And you go, wow, well, maybe we should be a little concerned.
Mhm.
They kicked the field goal to take the lead. And then it was like, okay, we ran a couple plays, got nothing. JJ runs for a first down, and it almost looked like it was a very structured play for him to look, and then break. He got his 5 or 7 yards for the first down. Next play, Edwards goes the distance. And
That
at
was
that
just
point,
that was just a off power, right?
Yep.
Right side, and all of a sudden
Yep.
it just opened up and he's gone and he takes it away from everybody.
yeah, and
Yep.
you watch the blocking on that. Go back and watch it, guys.
Oh my gosh.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
The two, yeah, it
So-
is great. And you see the cornerback
Yeah,
just slightly peek at JJ
yeah, yeah,
to make sure he's not running.
yeah,
Yeah.
And that was just the quarter step that he needed to not be able to get into the play.
yeah,
And then you see it on the next drive when Corum breaks it,
yeah, yeah.
and you see the same thing, but instead the cornerback, he doesn't just take a peek, he takes a step,
Yeah.
and that's enough where now I don't know who that safety was that almost tracked down Corum. That guy was fast.
Yeah, he sure was.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Could have caught him.
That dude's like 4.3 fast.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's the same thing. Like that cornerback's not around, so now Corum, and I swear every game he looks more and more like Mike Hart.
Yeah.
But fast. I know that's the joke, but I mean, he just knows how to like get extra yards. So you're just running sideways basically because the fast guy is coming at you from an angle.
Yeah.
You look at the cuts
Keep
that
going at that same angle.
that Lightning and Lightning made, the 2 cuts that they made on those 2 runs, and that like Edwards just made a great cut
Yeah.
going back to the middle, and then Corum made a cut, and I think he was 3 inches, what coach say, 3 inches off the ground on that cut because
He was.
he just turned. It's like he's going forward, but all of a sudden he went sideways, and it was just like amazing cut, and then he was the guys almost chased him down, but just the eye, the vision, and the ability to plant and cut. Oh, wow! I haven't seen that for maybe Wheatley. I don't know.
He's really talented, really, really talented, and it helps when you have such a great offensive line.
I mean, we lose Jones, and we just replace him with Barnhart or whatever.
Yeah.
We don't lose a beat. So
right.
Yeah, pretty.
A few penalties, at times, but wasn't anything that killed us. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, it's just road grading them the rest of the way. You know, you
Yeah,
have Edwards.
400 and
Yeah, dude, 418 yards.
we kept looking up at the scoreboard as that number kept creeping up, and
tick, tick, tick.
we had 307, I think, with 7 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
even Joel Klatt said it on his broadcast when I watched it later. He's like, folks, this is the number 5 rushing defense in the country.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what their average was they were giving up, but it was under 100.
Yeah.
And they were ranked number 5. And after the game was over, they were ranked 59th.
Yeah, the 50 something.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Well, they had only given up 390 yards or something
Total
on the year rushing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They gave
Yeah.
up
that's
418.
4 games, or 5.
5 games.
You know, and that's, I mean, 418, you have 2 guys over 150 yards, 2 guys over 160 yards.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
You know, and JJ had a pretty pedestrian stats day, you know,
Well,
but he's doing what he's supposed to do.
Well,
Yeah.
And,
so we'll call it pedestrian. 17 for 24 for 145. Okay. Sean
Fluke
Clifton was
pick.
7 for 19
Yeah.
for 120 yards.
All right. So here's where my my QBR thing goes in.
Yeah.
Dude, they're basically the same QBR.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
You know, and I just don't get some of that. I mean, and some of the advanced stats like that, Pro Football Focus, PFF.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys watch that, but
Yeah.
they have Michigan State's offensive line ranked better than Michigan's offensive line.
Yep. Let them. Yeah.
Like, wait, how is that exactly?
Yeah. I'm going to
No,
look, and we should talk about this next week. We should look real close at some of those statistics for offensive linemen and defensive linemen. You'll probably find, just like Penn State's, they've been running the ball really well, but they have one very poor offensive lineman. And that's all it takes. You got one very poor offensive lineman, and guess what? You know, we hear it through PFF, but you know that these analysts for U of M and every school knows every one of those numbers on every player. And that's why we're seeing so much talk about the stats on JJ. You know, when they're in the pistol, they run it 92% of the time. When the running back's on his right, they have stats on all this.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that U of M is self-scouting, you know. And
the tendencies that we have.
I heard a couple interviews where they're saying we scout ourselves every single game. You know, and they're even saying we scout ourselves in practice. We're doing all the stuff we're supposed to do. So, yeah. So, you know, at that point, the 2 big runs, it's what, 30-17 at that point.
We went for 2. We went for 2 and got it. So we scored 15 points. So yeah, we were up.
30, yeah, so 31-17.
31-17.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so at that point, you're thinking, okay, you know, are we going to get to 50? You pretty much know they have three scoring drives, or 3 scoring plays, I should say. You know, they scored 3 times. All 3 are like unicorn plays. We talked about the ping pong pick, and then you know, the slow quarterback going 62 yards, and then that other one is, I mean, well covered. He throws a perfect pass, and then a perfect diving catch.
You
know, for 48 yards.
Yeah.
You know, so they gain, what's their total yards, like 260 or something?
Yeah. So
268.
Yeah.
And the 48 and the 62 are you know, 110 of those in one play.
Yeah.
You know, it was just total dominance. 563 to 268, 28 first downs to 10. And again, they were first down wise, they're pretty even in the second half.
Well, and what was his final time of possession? We kept talking about it during the game. I think we ended up with 42.
42-18, basically.
I don't know how many times in the history of Michigan football we've had 42 minutes of possession in a game. I will say that I did hear that Minnesota did that earlier this year, and Purdue did it the other day. So, and the numbers are pretty staggering. But one thing that I loved was listening to James Franklin's post game when he was saying, you know, we didn't win any phase of the game. and
Shape the
our
line.
lines were bad.
Line's bad, yeah.
And he said, lines were bad.
Line's bad, yeah.
And he said, we gave up a 12-minute drive and an 8-minute drive and a 7-minute drive and a 9-minute drive.
Get
And
off the
looked
field.
at these drives, and people want us to throw the ball downfield. If we are consistent and hold the ball, don't turn it over, don't have offensive penalties, we are going to be able to move the ball down the field and on, second down or worst case third down. And if we really have to, we've had a number of 4th and 1s in the last couple of years, including one the other day. We make those first downs.
Right.
And all that does is keep that clock running.
Yeah.
No, and they're starting to throw that term around, complementary football.
Yeah.
Where your offense is helping your defense is helping your offense.
Yep.
And that's exactly what it is. Those defensive guys go out there and they're fresh. And they played just such a fantastic game, other than those 2 unicorns. And that stuff happens.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, I mean, this is a top 10 team, again, top 5 defense, and to just absolutely obliterate them.
Well, here's another stat for you.
All those stats, and here we don't move up a spot on the rankings because they moved Tennessee up there.
What is it? I mean, to be
now,
honest, Pat, what does it matter?
After
I
this,
don't.
here they talk it up so big before the game, and it's going to be such a great game, and then we go in there and demolish them, and it doesn't even mean shit because it didn't even matter. Now they don't even move them up because it wasn't an impressive win.
You know what, Pat? These polls at this time of year are votes.
So crap,
I don't care about the votes. I mean,
but
it all works itself out.
Because it's just
I
like
couldn't care less about the polls.
Talk it up all game just to promote it on TV, and then after it's done, give Michigan the credit still because he totally dominated that game, and they're going to say, oh well, Syracuse or Tennessee beat Alabama, and they should move up, jump us,
Yeah, don't matter at all.
I agree.
Here's a stat that I did not know until just now. How many offensive plays did Michigan run? Without looking it up real quick.
It's right there.
5, 60.
I would say they had 52, I think, in the first half. So maybe
91.
77. Oh, okay. Wow.
91 offensive plays.
Wow.
And how many did Penn State have?
They only had, I think, 12 in the first half.
Right. They had
so
48.
35?
48.
Double them up.
And so you think about that alone. I mean, you're talking 34 more or 33 more plays on offense. 33. And most drives are 3, 4, 5, 6 plays, 7 plays. We had 5 drives like that they didn't have. I mean, it's just unreal when you see those types of stats and those numbers. And because of that, I don't get even mildly concerned about where Michigan's ranked or what the pundits are saying. Oh, you can't beat Ohio State like that. You know what? I couldn't disagree with that comment more. I think this style of offense with a little bit more from the quarterback, you can beat anybody. Anybody. And by the way, the SEC is now the no defense league. If you watch the LSU game, LSU Florida, the Alabama Tennessee, they look like the years past of the Big 12. I'm totally unimpressed. Now Georgia's still playing great on every side of the ball. But that's they're all very beatable guys. And if we were in a 12-team playoff this year, I think it would be unbelievably better.
Yeah.
All right. So
we're trying to find a way to get people in this year.
Yeah.
Does this big win change your outlook for the rest of the season?
I think it solidifies mine. I felt we would be 11-0 going into the Ohio State game, worst case 10-1. And I thought we might lose a bad game to somebody. And we still could. I mean, we still have, like 3-4 games to battle through. But you know what? I don't see anybody on our schedule, and that includes Illinois, because they just aren't that good. I just don't see anything causing us a problem. And we have Illinois at home, so I'm not concerned.
Pat, what about you?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. I mean, I think I had us at maybe losing to either the Iowa game or the Indiana game, one of those two, and then maybe fighting through the rest of the way. Yeah. So I had them at 2 losses, maybe 0 or 1 right now, but yeah, they're just playing way above expectations, obviously, for a lot of people. And Yeah, I just think we're solid. I mean, we got a chance to revenge one of our 2 losses in the last 2 years coming up.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, thanks guys. And thanks everybody for listening. Next week, we'll go over the MSU game and my sports chat. Thanks.
Thanks, man.